adversity as a catalyst for growth like Amy Purdy, Kellie and Ben have faced obstacles, but rather than retreat, they use challenges to build character and clarity. When life hits you the hardest, when you're backed into a corner, when everything you thought was certain starts slipping through your fingers, that's not the end, that's the beginning, that is your starting line, because adversity is not the enemy, it is the invitation. It's the moment the universe asks, asterisk, who are you willing to become? Asterisk, Kellie and Ben didn't choose their challenges, none of us do, but what they chose day after day was to rise, to show up not in spite of what they were facing, but because of it. Think about what that means. Most people wait until the storm passes to move. Kellie and Ben danced in the downpour. They turned every setback into a setup for something greater. They didn't sit around asking, why me? They stood up and said, try me. That mindset, that decision to let adversity carve out strength rather than fear, is the reason we're even here talking about their journey today. They weren't given a script, they had to write their own. And some days, that meant writing with tears. It meant sleepless nights. It meant trying and failing again, before the world ever saw what was being built behind the scenes. But growth doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from having it all figured out. It comes from doing the hard thing while still shaking, from pushing forward even when every excuse says you don't have to. It comes from understanding that pain is not a punishment, it's a forge. Kellie and Ben embraced that forge. They stood in it. They let it shape them, mold them, stretch them, because they knew that the muscles of the mind and heart don't grow without resistance. And if you can hold your ground through the fire, if you can keep your eyes locked on your purpose while everything else tells you to quit, that's how you build something unshakable. That's how you become the kind of person who doesn't just survive adversity, but teaches through it. It's not about having superpowers. It's about making one powerful choice to show up fully even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That is the lesson Kellie and Ben lived. That is the lesson they leave behind. They didn't run from adversity. They didn't cover it up or pretend it didn't exist. They faced it, raw, real, and unfiltered, and in doing so, they gave everyone around them permission to do the same. To stop seeing adversity as an obstacle and start seeing it as a teacher. One that shows us who we are, and more importantly, who we're capable of becoming. Let me know if you'd like me to expand Key Point 2F, reshape this into a video, style delivery F, or create a full speech draft F. The power of adaptability. True education is learning to adapt, not just to lessons, but to life. Kellie and Ben exemplify the art of pivoting with purpose. Adaptability isn't just a survival tool. It's the highest form of intelligence in motion. It's the decision to stop resisting change and start responding to it with intention, grace, and grit. That's exactly what Kellie and Ben have done again and again, and it's what sets them apart, not just as leaders, but as learners. Because education, at its core, isn't about memorizing facts. It's not about getting the answers right. It's about developing the courage and clarity to evolve when life throws you the unexpected. When the plan you thought was perfect starts to crumble, adaptability is what turns the rubble into a foundation for something even stronger. How many of us have clung so tightly to what we thought should happen that we missed the opportunity in what was actually happening? That wasn't Kellie and Ben. They were willing to pivot, willing to look at uncertainty not as chaos, but as potential. They didn't waste energy fighting what couldn't be controlled. They harnessed it. They asked, asterisk, what can we do with this moment? Asterisk not. Asterisk, what did we lose? Asterisk but. Asterisk, what can we learn? Asterisk, that mindset, that flexibility, is the root of every great transformation, and it's not comfortable. Adaptability demands humility. It demands that you let go of what once defined you, so you can become who you are meant to be next. That is a courageous act to admit. Asterisk, this isn't working anymore. This no longer fits who I'm becoming. Asterisk, most people avoid that reckoning their whole lives. Kellie and Ben ran straight into it. They made adaptability look like power, not panic. And isn't that what real leadership looks like? the ability to navigate uncertainty while staying anchored to your values. The ability to move with purpose through a world that's always shifting under your feet. It's not about staying on script, it's about writing the next chapter in real time, with courage, creativity, and heart. And this isn't just about navigating change and crisis. It's about being willing to change even when things are going well. It's about looking at a good situation and still asking, can this be better? Is there another way? That's what learners do. That's what educators do. And Kellie and Ben didn't just adapt for themselves. They adapted for others. They became safe places for people to land, and brave spaces for people to rise. Because once you've learned how to move with the waves instead of being crushed by them, you start teaching others how to do the same. They showed us that adaptability is not weakness. It's mastery. It's knowing how to bend without breaking, how to flex without losing who you are. It's the skill that turns failure into feedback and uncertainty into innovation. And the truth is, we all have that power. We all have the ability to look at the storm ahead and say, okay, let's recalibrate. Let's redirect. Let's rise anyway. Let me know if you'd like me to expand key point 3F, or turn this message into a short video monologue F or interactive lesson version F. Purpose over perfection success isn't about flawless execution. It's about living aligned with what matters. Kellie and Ben chose meaningful impact over applause. Stop chasing perfect, right now. Let it go, because perfect is a lie we've been sold. It's a moving target that will always leave you exhausted, unsure, and unfulfilled. But purpose is different. Purpose is real. Purpose wakes you up in the morning. It gives meaning to the mess. It fuels you on the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. That's what Kellie and Ben chose. Not the flawless, polished, filtered version of life, but the raw, purpose-driven, soul, deep version, and in that choice they found something more powerful than perfection could ever offer. Truth. You don't get extra credit for being perfect. You don't become a better leader, a better teacher, a better human by getting everything right. You become those things by showing up with intention, by asking yourself, why am I doing this? Who am I doing it for? What impact am I trying to leave behind? And then staying rooted in those answers when everything else gets noisy. That's the kind of clarity Kellie and Ben lived by. They weren't trying to impress you. They were trying to serve you. They weren't after gold stars. They were chasing gold standards of impact, empathy, and integrity. And yes, the world will try to tell you that your worth is tied to how seamless your journey looks. But Kellie and Ben prove that real worth lies in the substance of your journey, not the shine. They stumbled, they rerouted. They had days full of doubts. But that didn't stop them. It strengthened them. Because every single imperfect moment taught them something they couldn't have learned from a perfect plan. That's the lesson. Perfection teaches nothing. Purpose teaches everything. You want to grow, let go of the need to perform. Replace it with the drive to contribute. Because when your focus shifts from how you look to how you serve everything changes. You become unstoppable, not because you're flawless, but because you're fueled by something bigger than yourself. Kellie and Ben didn't fake it till they made it. They faced it till they became it. They embraced vulnerability as a leadership tool. They let people see the process, not just the results, and that transparency, that humility, that's what people remember. That's what leaves a legacy. So ask yourself, are you chasing a perfect life that pleases others, or are you living a purpose-led life that ignites you? Because one of those will drain you, the other will sustain you, and if you're going to make it in a world that's constantly shifting, full of critics and expectations, then you need something stronger than image. You need mission. Purpose anchors you when the wind picks up. It keeps you moving when you feel like giving up. It reminds you that you're here for a reason, not a performance. Let me know if you want to continue with Key Point 4F or shape this into a spoken word, performance F, or motivational podcast intro F. Your story is your superpower. Every experience, especially the hard ones, shapes a story that can educate, uplift, and lead others. Your story is not a side note. It is not a weakness. It is not something to hide behind success or gloss over with smiles. Your story is your superpower. Every scar, every struggle, every moment when you wanted to quit but didn't. That is your advantage. That is what makes you unforgettable. And Kellie and Ben, they understood this truth deep in their bones. They didn't just carry their story. They owned it. They stood on it. They built something real from it. Not because it was easy to talk about, but because they knew that honesty heals more than perfection ever could. We've been told to be polished. We've been told to keep it together, to not get too emotional, to act like we're always in control. But that's not strength. That's survival, and there's a difference. Strength is saying, this is where I've been. This is what I've been through, and this is how I'm using it to lift others. That's what Kellie and Ben did, again and again. They turned pain into power. They turned lessons into light, and most importantly, they let others see the journey, the whole thing, not just the mountaintop moments, but the valleys too, because when you share your story, fully, freely, with nothing held back, you do something extraordinary. You create connection, you create relatability, you show people that they are not alone, and in a world that constantly tries to isolate us with comparison, that is the most powerful gift you can offer. That is education in its purest form. Lived experience turned into collective wisdom. Kellie and Ben taught not by preaching, but by living, by being transparent, by choosing to be seen even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard, and no, it's not always comfortable. Telling your story can feel like standing naked in the cold, but when you do it anyway, when you speak with honesty instead of hiding behind what's safe, you unlock something bigger than applause. You open a doorway to healing, not just for you, but for everyone watching, everyone listening, everyone holding back their own truth, waiting for someone brave enough to go first. Kellie and Ben were that someone. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait until everything was perfect. They spoke from where they were. They led from the middle, not just the finish line. So here's the truth. Your story is enough, right now. As it is, you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to tie it up in a perfect bow. You just need to be willing to share it, because the things you think disqualify you, they're actually the things that qualify you to lead, to teach, to inspire. Your story is not baggage, it's a bridge. A bridge to connection, to empathy, to impact, and Kellie and Ben didn't just cross that bridge. They built it for others to walk across too. Let me know if you'd like to continue with Key Point 5F, or turn this into a TD-style speech excerpt F or motivational classroom lesson F. Gratitude as a grounding force. Gratitude isn't passive. It's a choice that fuels perspective, learning, and resilience. Gratitude isn't just saying thank you when things go right. It's choosing to see the light when everything feels like it's falling apart. It's not a soft whisper of politeness. It's a roar of strength in the face of uncertainty. Gratitude is not passive, it's a force, and Kellie and Ben lived by that force, not because life handed them an easy path, but because they knew that perspective is a weapon. When the world tried to shrink them down, they expanded. When the pressure built up, they breathed deeper. When things didn't go their way, they found something in it to grow from. And that something, again and again, was gratitude. Most people wait for the good days to feel grateful, but the real leaders, the real change makers, the real difference makers, they trained themselves to find the lesson in the storm. Gratitude was Kellie and Ben's grounding wire. When doubt crept in, when obstacles piled up, they didn't spiral, they centered, they recalibrated, they asked themselves, what is this trying to teach me? What am I still lucky to have in this moment? And that doesn't mean they ignored the pain or faked positivity. No, it means they acknowledged both the mess and the miracle at the same time, and that is a skill. That is wisdom. Because if you're always waiting for perfect conditions to be grateful, you'll miss 90% of life. And you'll miss the education that only struggle can offer. Gratitude is the translator. It takes hardship and turns it into resilience. It takes failure and turns it into feedback. It takes confusion and turns it into clarity. That's what Kellie and Ben modeled. They didn't just say, "We're grateful." They showed it. In their choices, in their attitude, in the way they treated people, even in the way they closed their final chapter. And you could see it, in the way they lifted others even when they were tired, in the way they smiled with sincerity even when they were hurting, in the way they said "thank you for the journey," even the hard parts, because it shaped them into something stronger, something fuller, something unstoppable. They knew that gratitude wasn't weakness. It wasn't softness. It was strategy. It was what kept them aligned with their purpose and their people. It was how they kept their hearts open, even in seasons when it would have been easier to shut down. And let's be clear, gratitude doesn't mean you settle. It doesn't mean you stay silent. It means you choose not to be consumed by bitterness. It means you remain teachable, reachable. It means you hold space for joy, even when the circumstances say you shouldn't. That's what makes it revolutionary. That's what makes it educational. Because when people see you show up with gratitude despite the chaos, they learn how to do it too. Kellie and Ben didn't just say it. They lived it. Loudly, consistently, and with heart. Let me know if you want to expand Key Point 6F, or turn this into a spoken reflection activity F, or a resilience coaching script F. The legacy of learning the final message isn't an end, it's a passing of the torch. Kellie and Ben leave behind more than memories. They leave lessons. The final message is never really final. It echoes, it carries, it multiplies in the hearts it touched and the minds it awakened. Kellie and Ben knew this. They knew that what they were building was never just about them. It was about everyone who would come after them. Everyone who would hear their words, see their journey, feel their fire, and be forever changed. That is the legacy of learning. It's not about diplomas. It's not about accolades. It's about impact. It's about creating something that doesn't end when you walk off the stage. It begins right there. In the silence after your last sentence, in the space where others start to speak up because you showed them how. Education isn't a moment, it's a movement. It's what happens when you dare to live what you've learned and then pass it on with open hands. That's what Kellie and Ben did. They didn't just take knowledge, they activated it. They didn't hoard wisdom. They shared it. They didn't just learn for themselves. They taught by example. That's the work. That's the calling, because the final message isn't a mic drop, it's a torch pass. And if you're truly committed to the journey, you understand this. Your story, your struggle, your breakthroughs are not just for you. They are tools, they are keys, they are lessons that someone else will use to unlock their next chapter. So many people live to complete something. Kellie and Ben lived to contribute to something bigger. They weren't worried about being the final word. They were focused on being the first spark, and that's how legacies are built, not by grand exits, but by the quiet power of consistency, service, and presence. Every life they touched, every classroom they entered, every conversation they held, it was a seed, and those seeds, they will bloom for years, maybe even decades. Because when you teach with heart, when you live with intention, you don't disappear when you leave, you expand. And if you're listening to this thinking, but what if I don't have a legacy yet? What if I haven't found my message, you're already on the path, right now, because just by choosing to grow, just by showing up with curiosity, with openness, you are writing your message. You are shaping the imprint you will leave behind. That's what Kellie and Ben showed us. You don't wait until the end to think about legacy. You build it in every interaction, in every choice, in every time you decide to act with purpose instead of pride. With empathy instead of ego, with courage instead of comfort. Kellie and Ben's message isn't just a goodbye, it's a challenge, it's a call to rise, to teach by living, to lead by learning, to remember that no lesson ever ends when the bell rings. No journey ever stops just because the road changes. Their final message, it's not about closure, It's about continuation. Now it's your turn. Let me know if you'd like me to now build the full speech draft F, a highlight reel script F, or a stage presentation form at F.